Good evening, Internet, and welcome back to Bloodstone, Four Dads' 5th edition D&D campaign set in the Forgotten Realms. It has been a minute since we've been back with you. I want to say a very fond welcome to Mr. Zailstarum, who we haven't seen in a very, very long time. And obviously Simrith and Vamp, welcome back to you guys as well. But you know, it's always fantastic to have all four of the dads in one place. And I know Olives is out there too. He's watching today, and he's going to be having a good time watching our intrepid group of adventurers. But yeah, it's really nice to have everybody back together, and it's been a little while. Shout out to Souls as well, obviously. Hey Souls, we see Souls pretty often on stream still, but yeah, it's always good to shout out the Baron himself. But no, it just feels really good bringing back Bloodstone, trying to get back into the swing of things, and having all of you guys back together on stream. We're missing Drog tonight, unfortunately. Sprout won't be with us because he had other things going on. He couldn't get away from. It is what it is. It's hard. It's hard to schedule this kind of stuff and get everybody to show up. D&D is it's tough. Tough to get groups together. But we are happy to be bringing this back to you. Our 15-year now running D&D campaign that has spanned now 3 editions, close to 15 players, I think, something along those lines. As many, if not more, player characters, and just about six months of in-game time. So 15 years of real time, 6 months of in-game time since we met Eldrick and his companions, our intrepid group of adventurers. We're going to get right into the adventure for you here in just a moment. I will begin with a little bit of a recap in case you have not followed along with the VODs that we post up on our YouTube channel. If you are interested in doing such, our YouTube information is right there in the chat. All of our streams, whether they be League of Legends or Starfleet battles or Dungeons and Dragons, or any of the other fun things that we do on this stream, they're all there, or at least all up to a certain point before this hiatus, the big hiatus began. I'm a little bit behind on getting caught up on all of those things, but I am working very hard on trying to get all of those up on our YouTube channel as well. But tonight's session will go immediately up to our YouTube channel within 24 hours. I want to make sure that everybody has the opportunity to see the entire thing if you missed a little bit. Continuity for these kinds of things is important, so I will put forth a little bit extra effort to get those up for you. Anything from you guys before we get started? Anything you want to say or bring up?
I spent 2 hours reading notes to prep for this session.
Wow.
Yeah.
I did no prep, just winging it.
See, that's where I am. I was going to say Souls spent more time preparing for this session than I did, and I'm the one running it. So we'll see how. No, that's not entirely true. I did quite a bit of prep, just late in the game.
It's never as much prep as you want to do, but always more than you should have.
Bingo.
Exactly. That is the life of the dungeon master. Is, you always do more prep. You could always do more prep, but really, should you? But we're going to go ahead and dive into the action for this evening. Get back into our story. Rejoin our intrepid group of adventurers right where we left them, or very near right where we left them. And so, for the first time in half a year, I get to say, when last we left our intrepid group of adventurers, our party had just completed the ascension party for Baron Eldrick Oaks, the newly minted, newly crowned great noble of the Bloodstone Kingdom. The new Baron of Morov, one of the 7 Damaran provinces that make up the newly minted or newly consolidated kingdom of Bloodstone. After the previous Baron was lost in a fire, the logical choice, or the popular choice for his replacement, was in fact a member of his extended family, one Eldrick Oaks, the paladin and I suppose ersatz leader of our little band of adventurers here.
Certainly, the coin force for
our barons, or our new baron's mother, had planned a large celebration for his coronation. Invited multiple members of the government and the nobility of Morov, personages that are of importance in the city of Heliogabalus and in the realm around, to help Eldrick celebrate his ascension to power. There were a number of strange occurrences that happened during the party, as they are wont to do in situations like these. Not limited to the return of an old enemy of Eldrick and some of the members of the party, the Archmage Nelict, whose arrival was somewhat, well, obviously unexpected, but different than I think anyone expected could ever possibly happen.
We didn't expect any scenario where we saw him again and he didn't attempt to just murder everyone. So definitely unexpected.
Seemingly completely overcome with remorse for his previous actions and acting very, very strangely, Nelict begged Eldrick for forgiveness and even delivered him a nice little card that he had written and drawn a picture of Eldrick as way of saying sorry that he made Eldrick sad. In addition to that, we also received a visit from the Faceless, also known as Netheril, the another longtime enemy of the party, and who was actually revealed to be the master and teacher, former master and teacher of our very own Macaria. He delivered a very cryptic, very chilling warning to Macaria, and then disappeared once again, leaving Macaria with more questions than answers, as per usual, as was always his wont. Then, as the celebration continued, or as the celebration reached its climax, and Eldrick was in fact crowned new Baron of Morov, the warning bells in the city of the Heliogabalus began to toll, signaling to those in attendance, including the Wardens of the White Tree, or members of the Wardens of the White Tree, and the Bloodstone military in attendance, that something was dreadfully amiss in the city of Heliogabalus, that the city had come under attack. A skeletal rider of immense power, known to the Wardens as Famine, attacked the farmers' quarter in the northwestern section of Heliogabalus, where Sprout, a member of the party, short-time member of the party, actually found himself after he had left the celebration. And Sprout came under the power of this creature, this undead creature, and nearly lost his life. His companion, new companion in the Children of the Eye, the halfling Dal Makito, did in fact lose his life. He starved to death before Sprout's very eyes, and Sprout would have as well, except that Famine, for whatever reason, for whatever inscrutable reason of its own, left the city, delivering a warning to Sprout and all others who survived to hear it, that there was something that they sought within the Bloodstone Kingdom, and and any who should find it should only contemplate the terror that they felt in Famine's presence, and Famine and those of its ilk would know and would return. The warning bells set off a number of different programs within the city's defense that necessitated the removal of all personages of importance from Oakhart, the Oaks family ancestral manor, and sped them all to Palace Hill, where they were granted shelter beneath the Palace of Bloodstone. This included Eldric, his family, and the remainder of his companions, and all of the attendees to the party, or nearly all of the attendees of the Ascension celebration. As they were ferried to safety, Eldric was approached by Lord Marshal Sebastian Killian of the Wardens of the White Tree, and briefed upon the situation that existed around the creature Famine. Information was given to Eldric and his party that Famine is one of at least 3 such creatures that have been rampaging through the Bloodstone countryside over the past few weeks and months, and their true identity, their true purpose beyond causing chaos and death is as yet unknown. But there are at least 3 of them that have been spotted rampaging through the countryside, causing death and destruction in their wake, and sowing fear and unrest in the Bloodstone Kingdom. There's a great deal more that was discussed with the Warden's Lord Marshal, including we'll say the admission by the Wardens that they are aware, the Wardens at least, are aware that there are a number of the members of the Bloodstone government that have been assassinated in recent weeks, and their admission that they know that the person currently sitting on the throne is an imposter impersonating His Majesty King Gareth. This is something that our intrepid group of adventurers had already known, or at least had already suspected, had heard from multiple other individuals, including the Queen Christine herself, and had been doing what little they could to investigate those claims, but having it spelled out for them in bold, bright letters that yes, the Wardens are aware that the person sitting on the throne is not the king, and we don't really know what to do about it. Outlined or underlined the perilous situation that exists in the Bloodstone Kingdom to date. How long it's been this way, what all has happened since the king, the true king, disappeared, and how much of the unrest within the Bloodstone Kingdom can be laid at the feet of this imposter is as yet not truly fully understood. After a conversation with the Wardens, Eldric had a very brief conversation with the leader of his knightly order, Lady Basra Fooling Grandmaster Basra Fooling of the Order of the Golden Cup, who revealed to Eldric that he had been chosen by His Majesty, or the foe His Majesty, for a mission of the utmost importance, to serve on a war council hundreds of miles to the west on the Moonsea. A conclave would be met from several of the city-states of the Moonsea and a sometimes ally of the Bloodstone Kingdom, Impilter, to face some grave threat that they believed coming from the Moonsea area, and that the nations, the city-states, and the nation of Impilter, and perhaps potentially the nation of Bloodstone, would be going to war. Faced with this new information, or the basics of this new information, Eldrick and his companions have discussed making a choice as to what they're actually going to do next. They're being requested to leave the country of Bloodstone, or the kingdom of Bloodstone, in perhaps the nation's greatest need. But to not do so would perhaps tip their hand that they know that something is amiss, and reveal that they are aware that His Majesty, who made the initial request, is not who he says he is.
Quick question on that note. Is it a request or is it an order?
It was an order. The initial suggestion came down. It was framed as a suggestion.
Right. No, 100%. Yeah. I'm a manager. I know how that works.
Yeah. But yes, it was requested of King Gareth by a noble and a leader of the kingdom of Impilter, the nation to the south, Lord Halenbrar.
That's right.
It was then levied to Eldrick as an order from His Majesty. So Eldrick will be in a very short time making the journey from Bloodstone to the Moonsea, to the city of Melvaunt, where he will participate on this war council and represent the interests of the crown and the throne of Bloodstone on this council. What he can expect there is anyone's guess. Finally, I'm
going to guess shenanigans.
Finally, the last thing that transpired before the end of our last session, thoros'l had a brief conversation with an old friend, a previous member of the Companion Protectors of Damara, now the Lady Miranda Kanar, an expatriate from Impilter who fled north to Damara, met the party at the formation, the original formation of the Companion Protectors, and spent several months traveling alongside them. Retired from the adventuring life after once again saving the kingdom at Eldrick's side and taking her just reward, becoming a noble in the nearby province of Ostel, which just to the south along the lake that Heliogabalus sits on. She is a minor noble, but still a noble nonetheless, and she is in town. Was initially in town with the Baroness Sylvia of Ostel, celebrating Miranda's 16th birthday. When the invitations came out to come to Eldrick's ascension, Miranda and a small entourage of her own were included as part of the Baroness's entourage and came to the party as well. And then thoros'l had the opportunity to speak with Miranda at greater length once the noble personages from the Ascension party were taken to the Palace Hill. thoros'l didn't outright accuse Miranda of being the individual who delivered a message to Eldrick, or attempted to deliver a message to Eldrick via crossbow bolt some days before.
The face, yes.
But heavily implied that they believed that it was her. She steadfastly denied this, and seemed a little put off that someone who she considered a friend for a very long time, in relatively speaking, could think her capable of such a dramatic and violent act.
Someone thought thoros'l was a friend?
Or she was pretending like she was put off. We'll just put it that way.
There was a little something. thoros'l did note that Miranda did seem a little... think of a way to put this that doesn't send off too many alarm bells. Not exactly herself.
Yeah, that is no alarm bells whatsoever.
Not entirely like herself. she seemed a little more careworn, a little less exuberant than she had in during most of the several months that they traveled together. Seemed to be a little worn down, perhaps, in her retirement. But that is where we will start tonight's session. And it only took me 30 minutes, not, I guess 15, almost 20. Not the full hour that I had expected it would take to get through the recap. Where we will actually pick up is just before the conversation with Miranda happened. Eldrick had made a request of several of the soldiers that were standing watch over the important people beneath the palace to secure a pair of carriages to take him and his retinue, including the party and his mother, back to Oakhart. Since the danger had seemingly passed, the intention was for Eldrick and his retinue to be ferried back to Oakhart for some rest and relaxation prior to determining what to do next. And so where we will pick up tonight is as those carriages pull into the gates of Oakhart, now only a couple hours removed from the moment that you left. But it is early in the morning, probably just after sunrise. You've been up all night. The party was last night, and so everyone is understandably exhausted. It was a big night. And you are returning back to the manor to find that all traces of the celebration have been removed, have been cleaned up. Seems that Durban Holy and the staff of the manor have been working overtime to make certain that whenever Eldrick and his lady mother return back to the manor, that they would do so in comfort and without having to worry about the trappings of the party that they left behind. So, Madeline Oakes, Eldrick's mother, is most likely asleep on Eldrick's shoulder as the carriages pull into the gates of Oakhart, and your party is probably split over the two carriages, one carriage carrying Sprout and one or two members of your party, the other carriage carrying Eldrick and Madeline and the remainder of the party. However you would like to split that up, don't suppose that it really matters. As we pick up, as you're getting, the carriages are coming to a stop within the manor proper, and you are stepping out into daylight for the first time since you left Oakhart late last night.
Well, Eldrick is a pretty strong, imposing figure, so he's going to attempt to not wake Madeline and carry her into the manor. As he steps out of the carriage, he's going to mentally ping his new bro, Endurus, to see where the Pegasus has made off to after... I believe I asked him during the emergency to scout the skies and see what he could see, and then we went into the basement of the castle and lost contact.
Correct. And as you do so, you get an immediate response back from Endurus, and Endurus explains that he has been doing exactly as you requested, has been patrolling the skies high above the city of Heliogabalus, keeping watch out for anything that seems untoward or unexpected. And he will mention that he has found something.
Eldrick is, he kind of nods to his friends to the manor, and then he starts heading towards the manor with Madeline in arms, kind of snuggled up so she can pick up. He'll mentally ping back to the Pegasus and inquire, but thank him for his hard work and his effort, and then inquire what.
So as Eldrick, go ahead.
Mhm. I was gonna joke that it's gonna be Black Dragon, but let's see. Surprise me.
As Eldrick is helping his mother inside, he will be met at the door by several servants that will take the burden off of him, so that they can take his mother upstairs and get her to bed, and free up Eldrick to handle the business of the manor. Durbin Holy is nearby. He looks like he definitely wants to have a conversation at your earliest convenience. But there's just a flurry of activity that's going on within the manor now that you have returned. A number of people come up, essentially just to check in with you and to give you basically status reports of this thing has happened.
Eldrick will hold up a hand for all of them. He's gonna move towards Holy, like he's gonna talk to him, but he's got a kind of a head to his temple, and Holy's definitely seen people using magic to talk to other beings off at a distance, I'm sure. So the others may not get it, but he certainly probably gets it. Eldrick is having a conversation, and he's going to inquire of Durus what he as the other rattle occurring.
So picking up on that, Holy will essentially shoo everyone else off, give you a little bit of a space to have your conversation, and wait nearby, with his arms behind his back folded, waiting very patiently for Eldrick to get his stuff together so that they can have a chat. Before we get to Endurus, what is the rest of the party doing upon arrival at the Oakhart Manor?
I would assume Macaria would just be going to her chambers, as she's already on the wrong side of Durbin.
Okay. And Macaria going along?
Yep.
All right. What about thoros'l and Alanir? Anything in particular that you want to do besides allow yourselves to be led to chambers where you can get some rest?
Yeah, I think he's just going to get some rest because it's already just been so late.
Okay. thoros'l?
thoros'l's going to wait to hear from Eldrick about the fallout from all this. He's not unaccustomed to all-nighters anyway, so he'll stay up as long as Eldrick is still handling the situation. He'll be on standby. He'll be just he's not looking to get in anybody's way or anything like that, but he's also going to keep an eye on Eldrick.
All right. So around about the same time as Macaria, and Alanir are heading through the manor and heading up to the rooms that had been set aside for you all the previous night, Durbin Holy catches Eldrick's having his conversation with Endurus at the moment. Durbin Holy catches thoros'l's eye, gives him a nod, and takes a couple steps toward him and says, "Good sir, there's something that you should know. One of our guests from the previous evening is still within the manor, wishing to speak with His Excellency, and with you specifically. A Master Wolfswift, I believe."
I see.
At this exact moment, Alanir, Macaria, and Macaria come up into the second floor landing, which is kind of the meeting space that where you had previously, I guess, met and then split off to your various rooms. And Macaria, you probably don't recognize this gentleman, but Alanir, you certainly do. You see Partic Talendar, aka Partic Wolfswift, lounging in that area, alone, seemingly flipping through a book. And he looks up as you as you enter the room. The three of you enter the room, and he gives Alanir a nod, and he gives both Makaria and Mykaria an appraising, somewhat rakish look and a grin. And he says, he then makes eye contact with Alanir and says, "Twins?"
It's a long story. You probably don't want any part of that.
He probably does.
And we'll ominously together say we're closer than sisters.
Partic seems very impressed. He says, "My good man, I do believe that I have given you far too little credit. I've underestimated you. And you, my good sir, drastically underestimate me." He stands to his feet and he walks over to between Makaria and Mykaria and gives them a little bow and then offers his hand. "Ladies, might I introduce myself? I am Partic Talandar, second son of Presker Talandar of the Jewel of the West, Selgaunt of Symbia. At your service." At this moment, back in the courtyard, thoros'l's getting the information that he's getting, and the conversation continues on with Endurus. "There's something above the city, my lord. A cloud. It is not like any other cloud that I have seen. It seems to stay in place. Hover, perhaps. It is unmoved by the wind. About 80 feet in length, maybe 40 feet in breadth. It appears to be concealing something large."
And it's over where?
Over the city. Directly above the city. Specifically, above the Old Town district. But far above. We're talking hundreds of feet above.
Interesting.
Should I investigate more closely?
No. You should come to Oakhart, and we shall investigate together. Perhaps with other. No need to. Something like that is hiding something for a reason. That something is likely to be dangerous.
As you say, my lord. And the connection cuts off with basically an affirmative feeling. He doesn't specifically say, "I'm on my way," but more of a you feel as though he is acquiescing to your request. He is winging his way in your direction and will arrive shortly. So you break off your conversation, or have the conversation with Endurus broken off, and thoros'l is... Well, what's thoros'l's initial reaction to Durbin Holy's message?
Just take a deep breath, knowing that he's going to have to deal with this. If the conversation with Endurus ends at this opportune time, he'll kind of like heave a sigh and then make eye contact with Eldrick.
Eldrick will move to join those two now that he is done mentally talking with a horse.
Yes.
A flying magic horse.
It's a unicorse, isn't it?
It is a unicorse.
It's a Pegasus. A unicorse. Oh my goodness.
A pegacorn.
A pegacorn.
Yeah.
Those are called alicorns now.
Okay.
I have no idea. Anyway, so he's going to head over to talk to the boys.
It seems Woolswift is still here and wants to speak to us.
He was quite adamant that he be allowed to remain behind. He was very persuasive. Given that he was and he kind of gives thoros'l side eye. An invitee of the party, and the City Watch had more to do than to respond to such a small, shall we say, annoyance. With no one else in the manor, I deemed it appropriate to allow him to stay.
Certainly. Absolutely. He is an old friend.
Yeah. Annoyance would be fair, as you say.
Let's be kind to the man. Is there anything else we need to speak about, Master Holy, before I go speak with our friend?
Nothing that can't wait until a more opportune time for you, Excellency, with one notable exception. On the docket for today, at the behest of your mother, the Honorable Herald Presmoira Voldriri will be arriving shortly for her appointment. I'll put it in the chat.
I'm sorry, Master Holy, you're going to need to repeat that name for me.
That's a name and a half.
I'll put it in the chat.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah, it's way too many syllables.
That was not somebody at the party?
Not someone at the party.
Do I have any concept of who this person is?
Make me a history check.
I will do that if I remember how to play this game.
Yeah.
+8.
First roll of the returned campaign. Right here, guys.
100% going to be a 1.
And here comes a 1.
Oh, well, there we go. 16 total.
The name specifically means almost nothing to you. You've probably heard it in passing once before, but the title Herald, or Esteemed Herald, that keys something within your mind. There's an organization that is effectively beyond borders, that exists within the realms at large, called the Heralds of Faerun. They're kind of the safekeepers of society, in that they essentially record and maintain all of the heraldry for all important folk and families, effectively keep the history of all of the notables within all kingdoms and all peoples within the
make sure the histories are accurate, sort of situation.
Make sure the histories are accurate, yeah.
Not like the Harbor, not specifically helping.
Not specifically helping people out, just, well, they view themselves as helping, but it's just in a very different way.
Right.
They are the keepers of history. And the self-proclaimed saviors of society, saviors of propriety.
Aren't we all?
It is considered, with a 16, you would know it is considered a very important and very vital aspect of any important member of society, any noble, especially someone who's risen to power the way that you have, to take this sort of meeting with the heralds to effectively establish yourself in the role of the nobility in the greater Forgotten Realms.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, I will thank him and let me know when this person arrives. I'm unsure that my mother will be in attendance. She had a long night. He would know that they had taken her up to her room, right? I assume he saw that.
He probably was at the head of that. Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. Very studious.
All right, so we'll, as we're wrapping up that conversation, and Eldrick and thoros'l turn to each other and realize that they have the Partic situation that they have to deal with. We'll flip back over to Alanir and the Karia twins. And Partic has just introduced himself to the tieflings.
Macarius will take his hand and, of course, in proper etiquette, do a little curtsy. I am Macaria and she seems a little flustered for a moment. And this is my sister, Mycaria. Oh, I'm sorry. I should thank the Baron for getting me such a great jewel. I mean, he just took me to the ball, and now he brings me you.
Partic, he seems almost as you're talking about, Eldrick. You're hinting that you are with Eldrick. He starts to kind of, he starts to puff himself up a little bit. He looks a little bit affronted, but then you mention, then he brings me you. Then the tension rolls off of him like water off of a duck's back, and he's right back into that. What he thinks, or at least what he seems to feel, is his charming, very confident self. He's like, "Well, indeed, my lady. If it must be why I was invited. The gods have seen fit to bring us together, and what the gods have put together, let no man or woman put asunder." Might I... Poor Zales. He just can't handle it.
Allergy season here. Sorry.
Yeah.
He's allergic to bullshit.
Partic raises Macaria's hand to his lips, gives it a very charming kiss, and then he offers to repeat the same gesture for Mycaria. Mycaria just stares at his hand, like completely impassively, like she has no idea what he's attempting. Doesn't seem to flap Partic at all. He kind of leans a little bit closer and he says, "So you're a new member of Eldrick's little band of adventurers and misfits? Is that correct? Is that fair to say?"
Oh, I can say that we've been on a fair amount of adventures in the last few days, but I can't say I'm a misfit just yet. And she kind of lets her smile falter for just a moment, but then looks over to Alanir, kind of with a quizzical look, like, "Who is this?"
Alan Nero kind of look at Partic and be like, "Careful there, Partic. You might end up as a spell component."
Make me either a persuasion or a deception check, whichever you choose.
Well, surely that's an advantage.
For anybody else besides Partic Talendar, it would be an advantage, but this is, why.
He does have some brass ones on him.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Natural 20.
Oh, 20.
Didn't even need the advantage.
With that, Partic kind of glances at Alanir, glances back at Macaria, and then Mycaria, and then back at Alanir, and he takes a full step back. releases Macaria's hand. He's like, well, yes. Well, any friend of His Excellency is, of course, a friend of mine. Did you know that he and I once traveled together, once fought side by side?
Oh, I have not. Tell me. And
then he murdered my father. Would you know it? Would you believe it?
Arya, without him, she will try and still scoop him and say, "Tell me the story."
He kind of gives Alanir a punch on the shoulder. Kind of like the whole thing is just a big jest, because of course to him it is. As this is going on, Eldric, thoros'l, are you guys moving up to interrupt this little
As
tete-a-tete?
as Eldrick and thoros'l turn towards the thing and they see Partic get a little uncomfortable for a half second, Eldrick puts a hand up in front of thoros'l on his chest and goes, let's just give this a second.
So Macaria, he's laughing. And he murdered my father. Would you believe it? And then Macaria, dives in. You have to tell me the story. Without missing a beat, Partic launches into this long, this whole thing. He visited me in Selgant, and he starts to expound upon the glories of the great city, the jewel of the West, the pride of Symbia, his home city. The greatest city in the greatest nation in all the land. Goes into talking about how the Talendar family is, of course, the jewel of Selgant, and that they had the opportunity and the honor and privilege to host His Excellency the Baron, back before he was cool, before he rose to power. In their home, and through some terrible misunderstanding, Eldrick was accused of murder later that night in their home, and was sentenced by the courts in Selgant to be put to death. Of course, that didn't take because no one can stop Eldrick, and that was the last. That was the last, at least for a very long time. That was the last that he had seen of the Baron. And of course, he makes it to. He just so happens to be visiting Heliogabalus on business. And of course, he can't say what type of business. He gives a very rakish wink.
Yeah.
And who should he run into but an old friend? And he turns with Eldrick and thoros'l standing there, just completely deadpan in the doorway.
Yeah, 100%. We'll join
friends.
now, certainly.
Yeah. My friends!
Well, that is an interesting story, I must say.
Well, there's always ample opportunity for more adventure, if you catch my drift. And he gives Macaria and Mycaria. He gives Macaria a wink, and then he turns to Mycaria and shivers a little, and then turns his full attention back to Eldrick and thoros'l.
Eldrick will enter as if Partic is an old friend, walk on up, give him a big hug, and say, "Greetings, Partic. Been a long time. Well, long time since we've had time to actually have a conversation, certainly. I trust your father is doing well."
Unfortunately, yes. The old bastard just keeps holding on to life. It's a strange thing, money. What it can do for you, what the price that it carries.
I suspect I'm still a outlaw in your lands.
Indeed, and it has increased your legend by no less than tenfold. The one man who has managed to thwart not only the old chancellor but Preskar Talendar himself. You will return when you return to Selgant. You will return a hero to many. Of course, you'll be reviled by the rest, but it's the fine line that men like you and I walk.
I'm curious. I'm curious what Selgant's stance is on arresting Baron.
Oh well, if you don't hold a rank within the esteemed jewel of the West, of the Heartlands, then are you really?
Oh, that's the old
That's
Partic.
the old Partic. That's the old Partic.
So to what do I owe the honor of you remaining after the party, friend?
Well, business, of course. Is there any other pursuit? I've been trying to get this one.
I suspect you have many other pursuits. Some of them likely far more enjoyable.
He does know me. And he kind of turns to Macaria and gives her another suggestive wink. You see, he does know me well. No, but in all seriousness, Excellency, kind of gives a laughing, lip service to your title. It's this one here, and he puts a hand on thoros'l's shoulder, kind of jostling him around. Who I'm courting this time. I am very appreciative of your invitation to share in your special day. However that turned out, but truly, it's thoros'l that I must speak with, if you can spare him for a few moments.
Eldrick will look to thoros'l. Thoros'l will probably give him like a, and then Eldrick will be like, "Certainly I can. The sitting room is that way if you wish to have a private conversation."
Excellent, as always, Excellency. It is a pleasure. Please feel free to call on me anytime that you are in Selgant.
How long do you suspect you will be in Helio?
Well, that will depend entirely upon our mutual friend here. If I can seduce him from your side for even a moment, then perhaps I can hasten my return to my beloved homeland that much sooner. If not, then I could be here for a while. And you, are you still jet setting around the plains, around the realms?
I suspect my days of hopping from reality to reality are at a middle, but other responsibilities have been thrust upon me, as you are well aware.
The dreary life of an upstanding member of society, which is why I divorced myself of that notion from the moment I had the opportunity. Yo-ho, pirate's life for me and all that.
Absolutely. Well, I hope to hear many tales of your exploits.
Indeed. Perhaps over a drink or dinner. Certainly this time you can afford to host me.
Absolutely. And no parents will be murdered in the process, I see.
He laughs. Well, let's not put the cart before the horse.
Eldrick will smile at him.
He gives you a little bit of a bow, a clear dismissal, even though he's in your home.
Oh yeah, I know this guy. I know how this works.
He takes thoros'l by the shoulder and starts to try to lead him toward the sitting room that was indicated.
Well, thoros'l doesn't get led by anyone, so he'll
Clearly.
let him try, and then after he walks a few steps, he'll say, "I already told you I'm not interested in any job you have to offer me. Do we really need to talk? You got invited to the party. I promised it'd be a good one."
And you certainly delivered on that. It is reconsider. For all the love that you bear me, thoros'l, for all the love that I bear to you, this is a moment. This is an opportunity for us to work together, to be on the right side, for once. For you to be on the right side, for once.
Since thoros'l won't be led, that means he's not terribly far away from us. Eldrick will put a hand on his shoulder. You should at least hear the man out, thoros'l. Give him a chance to spin his tail and show you how deep the pockets are.
He'll give you a scowl, a more angry scowl than normal.
Hey, you used to work for a mercenary group. Price is not out of the question.
Don't you still?
Ignoring him. He'll say, "I've already talked to him about his job and all that he has to offer me while you were doing whatever you were doing in your castle. So I can hear him out one more time. Maybe he has some more information for me."
It's a milk run, thoros'l. A simple delivery. There's a there's a tavern in Old Town in which I am unfortunately no longer welcome, but this rich tit from Impilter insists this is where we should meet, for me to dispense the business that for which I have come to this dreary backwater in the first place. I need someone well known, someone who the toughs and the darker element of that element of the city will not bother, to ensure that my package is delivered as it was promised. This is all. I'm not asking for you to duel me again, because we all know how that happened last time, how that ended last time. There's virtually no danger or even inconvenience to yourself. I'm just asking for you to deliver a chest to this individual with whom I have contracted to do business, and receive payment. And as far as the payment goes, we can negotiate how much of it is yours and how much of it that you will bring back to me. This is all. Easy gold. I'm asking you, friend to friend, thoros'l, help me out here.
No. I'm not going to be your gopher and take your stuff around the city. You have your manservant, whom I met earlier. The Devil's Own is in town. Why don't you ask them if you need some muscle? I'm busy.
You wound me deeply. I thought perhaps that we shed blood together, thoros'l. We regardless, I respect your decision. I must say I'm disappointed, but I can respect that you. You've come up a bit in the world. You're no longer just the adjutant to a captain. You are the. What is it that you are again? To the Baron?
Yeah, I'm just thoros'l.
Hmm.
No need for titles. You know that well enough.
He looks truly shocked and affronted by that statement. And he looks at Eldrick like, can you believe this guy?
Eldrick looks at him like, I know, right? Who doesn't love titles?
Well, I'll be around, thoros'l. You know where you can find me. If you change your mind, if you come to your senses, my friend, you know where to find me. I'll be in town until I can manage to perhaps talk some sense into you. Until then, Baron Eldrick, it is always a pleasure. Once again, do feel free to call on me if ever you are in need of someone to drink your wine.
Where might you be staying in the city?
Oh, I'll be around. He kind of glances at thoros'l. My preferred lodging is at the Starry Night, which you know to be the large inn/tavern that overlooks Palace Hill from the spot in directly above the Triune Gate, which is on the map here.
Is that a pretty, maybe not wealthy, but kind of a nice place?
It's swanky. It has the best view in the city. It looks over Coinholm, the Purse, and Palace Hill.
I gotcha.
One place in the city that has views of basically every nice neighborhood in the whole city.
That implies that there are not nice neighborhoods. Tisk, my friend. This city is lovely.
I will take my leave of you then, Partic says, kind of dramatically. He gives Alanir a nod. He gives Macaria a longer nod and a wink. And then he sweeps from the room.
Eldrick will grin at all present. thoros'l, why so? What does he want you to do? He seems very insistent about it.
With Wolf Swift, it's no telling what kind of dagger might be in the back of that particular gift.
He said it was somebody from Impilter you'd be delivering something to? Did you ask who? It's not like
Honestly,
we've had
I
an Impilturian name dropped in the last 4 hours.
No.
Why doesn't
The
he
only
get...
part of his story that's probably true is the fact that he is no longer allowed at that certain establishment.
That's the truth.
I mean, he has a whole crew of people. Why doesn't he just get them to help?
That's my point exactly. Why me? There's too much going on for me to put that kind of job in front of myself.
Out of character, I think when you met him the last time, he revealed some information to you about that crew. I think they are on the outs, yes?
Are you talking about his crew?
His ship crew. Yeah, his ship crew, right? Like the people he rode with that our mage buddy, whose name eludes me at the moment, Jim, that Jim Masticate was having a pissing contest with.
Yeah, he did mention, because it was 6 months ago. He did mention that he has been on the outs with the majority of the remainder of the golden coins. That group had been dissolved, and he's no longer traveling with anyone except for Carrot.
We know Carrot was the cleric or mage, I think, that, like...
I think he was the mage.
Right? He got exploded for him, basically, right?
He took all the hits.
There was a moment in the battle aboard the Blue Dragon's Despair, Partic's ship, that Partic waded out into combat and basically in his skivvies, came out of his captain's cabin and took brutal hits, but didn't seem to be any worse for wear. And then you found later that through some sorcery, Carrot had been bearing the brunt of the attacks against Partic. Yes.
And is Carrot the same person who Jim was having a magical pissing contest with, where Jim summoned the giant dragon and scared the piss out of everybody?
No, that would have been Terrence. Terrence was the mage that was an old friend of Alex's from the academy that they both went to.
That's right.
And he was picking on Alex, and Jim took exception to it because only Jim got to pick on Alex.
I'm pretty sure that was like 10 years.
Thereabouts, yeah. That's a long time ago.
Oh my goodness. Okay, well, fantastic. Well,
the truth is, if you think I should look into it, I can make a delivery and see what's going on, but...
Well, I wouldn't encourage you to assist Partic with anything illegal, but I am curious who this Impilturian is, and perhaps what the package is.
I'll shrug. As far as I'm concerned, Partic and I are even. If not, he's proclaimed that he owes me a great debt for returning his family's heirloom. Otherwise...
Heirloom, you say? Oh, the sword. You gave him back the sword, did you?
Yeah.
Ah, I can see how he would... that was an unfortunate business.
Yeah, I can look into it if we have time. I know that we're under a bit of a crunch here.
Mm-hmm. Being that Makaria has probably no context for these events, Eldrick will turn to her. Partic's brother was a brigand in Vasa who attacked us and attempted to steal all of our horses and supplies. That did not go well for him, and thoros'l ended up with his sword in the aftermath. I also ended up naked and ethereal, but that's a different story. So I guess he was appreciative to have his sword. I would appreciate you finding out, if you can, who the since we may be dealing with Impilter in the near future. I am more curious, however, with what's going on with Miranda.
I have my suspicions with what's going on with her, but she would not. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. As soon as Ponies was like, she's not quite herself. Like, I played this game before. I know what's going on here.
Just jump over the ledge.
Yeah.
Dar,
There's
just
nothing
jump
that would
over it.
make a cleric not be able to cast a spell.
Nothing would make a cleric unable to cast his spells. Sorry, that for everybody. That's a total in-house reference.
I think that there's something going on between her and her mistress.
The Baroness?
Yes.
Well, I have need to pay the Baroness respects before leaving the city, so if you think it's something that we should look into, that can be arranged.
Even whenever I had her relatively alone, she was not forthcoming with what may be going on. But take it for what you will. I have a feeling that things aren't on the up and up.
Sure, well, as a Paladin of Ilmater, I have certain magics at my disposal that might assist with that situation.
It's gonna nod at that. Well,
I believe we have another vial of raspberry jelly for seeing through nonsense.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I didn't see anything out of the ordinary at your whole Bar Mitzvah.
You mean nothing out of the ordinary other than the massive amount of hallucinations that we were all having, right?
Yeah.
I'm assuming I'm not the only one who saw all the dead people and the giant dragon and the drow running about. The creepy part was one of the drow, and this, again, because we were having a mass hallucination, might have been just part of that. One of the drow seemed to react when I attempted to reach out to it with my gift from the amulet. So I'm a little quizzical as to what was happening. I don't suppose any of my more magic folk might have more information on that situation. He's obviously looking at Makaria and Alanir because they are the magic folk. I swing a hammer and this guy swings a sword. What do you two have?
Well, let's be honest. Do you really swing a hammer anymore?
Ooh,
What?
I mean, I've only missed half the combats in the campaign, so, you know.
But honestly, I have no idea what was going on with that.
None of my spells seem to do much to break an illusion if it was what it was.
So, so I saw undead furbogs, so to speak. Kind of ghostly furbogs. I saw ghostly, I guess they were drow, who I suspected, like mentally I suspected they were something more. This is all in character. And then I saw a giant dragon that eventually turned out to be Endurus, the alicorn, I guess. Did any of you see anything more than that? And what happened to Sprout?
Sprout is snoring away as he's still recovering from the effects of almost having starved to death.
No, sure, absolutely. I mean, but during the party, what happened to? He's going to ask during the party what happened to Sprout.
He was left
right.
at some point.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah.
Yeah, he freaked out and left.
Right. I don't know that Eldrick noticed that because there was like
There's a lot going
80
on.
people in between him.
Yeah.
And,
I think the
and
sight
like
of the
100
undead
million.
or the ghost furbogs was enough to make him have to leave.
That would do it. So did any of you see anything else during the party?
I did see your oak tree engulfed in green flames.
That's not what I want to hear. I appreciate the extra info though.
And Eldrick, you'll recall that whenever you
I've just learned a bunch of information about the tree. Yes. I'm sorry.
Well, that you also had a hallucination, or what you feel was a hallucination of whenever you first put on the armor that your mother had commissioned for you, the armor that you're wearing right now. it hurt you.
Is that different than when we got attacked by fake imaginary trout?
It was different. It was around the same time, but whenever you strapped on the armor for the first time, whenever the last buckle was fitted into place, it felt as though blades had sprung from inside the armor and pierced you all over and drove you to your knees. You thought you were going to die, and then nothing.
Yeah, as I recall, he saw like blood coming out of his armor too and everything.
Yeah. It was real bad. I remember.
It's like an Iron Maiden.
Oh,
Yeah.
And then Tuxedo Sprout dashing out
that's right.
and attempting to kill your mother.
Right, but she didn't see any of that, right?
She didn't react to it at all. Whether
Well,
or not
that's
she saw
that's
it.
what I mean. She didn't react to it when. If we assume that she's actually Madeline, which at the moment I'm running on that assumption, then we would. If she didn't see it, then it implies it was only for us, which is why.
Whatever it was, the potion you gave me that was supposed to give me true sight, it didn't cut through those as if they were illusions. So it had to be something else.
Well, yeah.
Certainly wasn't real.
Well, what does real mean? It was real to us. So maybe we were seeing something that was there.
So
Or the potion
perhaps
was,
maybe
or
it's
the,
some
or the
side
jelly was
effect
bunk.
of having multiple stones,
I
especially with
suspect-
one of them deals with the different planes.
No, I
or
suspect you
travel.
are. I suspect you are correct. I just don't know what else to do with them.
Clearly, you have to hold on to them. You can't give those away.
I mean, we
Keep
could
them in your either.
hide them, and we know a good place to hide them, but that seems. I mean, they were hidden and they were found already, so I don't know that hiding them is a great idea.
Yeah, they're
Exactly.
too sought after to try to leave them hidden.
Well, I am a paladin of Ilmater. Taking one for the team is kind of the holy oath, isn't it? Then.
What happened? What happened to trigger the end of the illusions, or whatever they were? Was it something that you did?
No, it was. I believe Eldrick's going to say this. I believe it was when Endurus first touched me. He snooted me in the chest, and it seemed as if that resolved the situation.
Anyway,
Almost as if Ilmater himself was assisting us.
then maybe Endurus knows something more. Maybe.
Well, we can certainly ask. And I will when he gets here. He is on his way. Maybe, perhaps, circuitously, but he is on his way.
Knock comes at the door, and Durbin Holy's voice. Your Excellency.
I will open the door.
The Herald has arrived, sir.
Absolutely. Thank you, Master Durbin. I will turn to my friends and I will smile and say, duty calls.
I'll go
Something
check
about
what
heraldry and history and such.
I'll go check out what Woolswift needs then, and I'll meet you back here.
Thank you, thoros'l.
All right, so break there, and what is Alanir and Makaria planning to do? Eldrick's got a thing to do. thoros'l's leaving the manor. What? Still going to bed? Trying to get some rest?
At this point, maybe not. Do I remember hearing, I guess, the last bells about what time it is? Because if dawn's approaching, then I'm just going to have to stay up.
Yeah, dawn is some time ago.
Oh. Then I'll have to take the time to do my devotions.
Go out to the tree outside, and
Yes.
you can do that.
Talk to that tree.
I'm getting sleep.
Okay. Then we'll split 4 ways. I love it. You love it when a party splits 4 ways.
Dude, in Helio, we've been splitting like crazy.
Yeah, we've been together like 3 times total.
That's true.
Oh yeah.
Like that line from Armageddon. Yeah, these guys get off the rig and they scatter. It's impossible to find them.
Oh yeah.
All right, so
Yeah,
thoros'l is leaving on foot. Just going to tear ass out across the city and head to the Starry Night.
Yeah, if that's where Wolfswift, if I think that's where Wolfswift's going to be, I'll head that way. I'm at the Oakheart Manor. If there's I don't need to walk, right? I can like take one of the Baron's coaches or something.
You certainly could.
Yeah, why not? I'm dead tired. I'll snooze while I'm on my way there.
All right, so you'll get in a carriage.
These lazy peasants, my goodness.
On my way, I want to stop off and charge about 300 more gold worth of bullshit at the.
The crossbow
and then I would
bolts,
go
like
around
4,000 of them.
Okay. So thoros'l, we know where thoros'l's going. It's going to take him a little while to get there. We know where Alanir is going. He's going to go out and commune with his goddess at the foot of the golden oak. In the
Do
center
you
of,
mean the magic god tree?
I don't mean that. I mean the golden oak.
Yes, the magic god tree.
The center,
I know we're pussyfooting around it. It's the magic god tree.
the center of Oakheart Manor. The perhaps the center of Oakheart Manor's power. We don't know.
The center of Bloodstone.
The center of Bloodstone.
It is now.
As far as you guys are concerned.
Well, my ego cannot be suppressed.
Where would you have the herald brought, Eldrick? Where in the manor would you set this meeting?
The nicest meeting room that we have, I suspect. I mean, if
That'd
this
be the
is
Great Hall?
yes, very much so.
Okay.
I would have snacks and drinks, right? Like the standard hospitality stuff. Maybe like just a little more, right? Like the kind of thing that you would greet one of my noble people with.
Okay.
An honored guest kind of situation, right? Like I'm not going to be sitting on a high chair or any nonsense like that. Because that's not an Eldrick thing, right?
Right. You understand that given that this was an appointment that was set by your mother, that that all you generally have to do is show up. All of the hospitality has already been arranged for by Madeline Oaks and orchestrated by Durbin Holy.
Oh yeah, I'm sure it's Eldrick goes, "Hey Durbin, do I need to do anything?" He's gonna be like, "No, I got it." I'll be like, "Excellent, thank you, sir.
Accommodations have been made, my lord."
Appreciate it as always."
All right. Well, then I
will show up.
Okay. We'll take a moment to go to Alanir. Alanir, anything in particular that you want to do as part of your devotions to Shantea this morning?
Man, I don't actually have any spells prep that would help me try and learn about the tree. So...
You're a druid, can't you just like cuddle with it?
What? No!
I mean, let's be honest, it's not the first time you've hugged a tree, right?
Alanir's got this.
Like, I will probably end up getting, or at least changing some spells to pick up a, see which spell it is. The one that helps me find out stuff about
Things.
I think
Stuff
I
about
think you
things.
want. I think you want
stuff about things. Yes, very
Speak-
technical and whatnot.
speak with plant and legend are probably the spells you're looking for.
There's-
No,
there's a-
something different.
Oh, you got
Communicate
better
nature.
stuff.
Yeah,
That's a
commune.
good one too. That's a good one too.
Yeah. So I'll probably do my hour-long devotions. Change the spell to pick up commune with nature. Then probably immediately cast that to try and learn about the tree.
Okay. I'm quickly running to the spell description.
Oh, poop. Can't do legend. Said.
Contact your deity or divine proxy and ask up to 3 questions that can be answered with yes or no. Okay.
Ooh.
Do you want to ruminate on those questions for a bit and then we'll come back to you?
Yes.
Okay. Then we'll do that. We will then... So Makaria will achieve her destination of her room, and she will be allowed to get comfortable and drift off into a restful sleep. Thoros'l is going to take a little bit of time to get across town to where he needs to go, so we will dive into the meeting with the Herald. Eldrick, as you reach the Great Hall, would you have instructed Holy to bring the Herald there to await you, or would you want to be there waiting when the Herald arrives?
Eldrick's not really a make people wait kind of guy, so he'll be punctual. So he'll get there as soon as he can, and then bring the Herald when he can. Don't make the Herald.
Okay. As you reach the Great Hall and you take your position, take your seat, Durban Holy effectively opens the door to the outside to the courtyard, and announces the esteemed Herald Presmoira Voldriri. And then, normally in a situation like that, he serves primarily as major domo. He announces the individual, and then he essentially backs off and lets you get to the point of doing what you're going to do. In this instance, you hear his voice. You expect coming around the corner to be the Herald, but several seconds pass, and you hear what sounds like footsteps, but they're very, very slow. A moment later, you see Durban Holy assisting what appears to be the absolute oldest elf you have ever laid eyes on. And she looks wizened. And for an elf, you know that that she has to be absolutely ancient. Thoros'l, you're somewhere in the vicinity of, what, 200, 250? Something like that, close to 300?
I think I'm younger than that. I think I'm about 150 maybe. Because I was pretty young elf when I got married.
Well, you've got an adult daughter.
That's true. But that was a century ago.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. Maybe close, coming on 200.
Yeah. So you know that Thoros'l is in the vicinity of close to 200 years old, which, having known elves your entire life, still blows you away that he appears younger than you. And you're what, 19, 20?
I'm 20. Yep.
Yeah.
At this.
He still appears younger than you are, and he's 10
one of
times
those-
your age.
One of those weird culture shock things where you just don't realize 100%. Yeah. Well,
The moment that you lay eyes on this elf and you can see the advanced age, you know, oh God, this woman may have been around when Damara was founded. This
maybe
is
before.
an ancient woman.
Pretty old.
Yeah.
Eldrick
And-
will quickly move to an extended arm to assist her. Well, welcome.
Make me a charisma check. Just flat, straight up charisma check.
I'm kind of good at those.
You're okay. You're all right.
I'm better if I can actually find the flipping window. That's going to be a 18 total.
Okay.
Yeah,
Very-
he's trying to
very,
be
very slowly.
legal, but definitely going to assist her.
Very,
Like you
very
would with-
slowly, this crone, this elven crone, kind of very, very gradually cranes her neck up to look at you, and you can see she's a little tentative. Her movements are very slow and deliberate. She trembles a little bit as she moves.
Eldrick does not rush her in any way.
Kind of reminds you of an ancient old tree that
Okay.
when the wind rustles through the branches, there's a little bit of a creak to it. There's a little bit of a tremble through the branches. Nothing this woman does is going to be quick. And she kind of fixes kind of her roomy sort of gaze upon you. She kind of tilts her head very, very slowly as she meets your eyes. You can see that there's a question in her eyes.
May I help you to your seat?
Baron Oak, I presume. And her voice sounds like the creaking of an old oak.
Eldrick's starting to suspect that this woman really likes walking south. He will smile. Yes, I am Baron Oak. He's not going to talk fast. He's explicitly not going to talk like that.
She very slowly detaches herself from Durban Holy, and Holy looks he looks as though he is not sure what to do, what the etiquette is in this moment. And for Durban Holy, that's a big fucking deal. He kind of takes a step back. He kind of reaches to help make sure that you've got her, but then he kind of gets control of himself, and he takes a step back. He gives you a nod, and he backs away and leaves the chamber.
He's got other stuff to do than sit here for 8 hours.
You very, very carefully lead the Herald to her seat, the seat that you have set aside for her. She is not hurried by any stretch of the imagination. You feel like if you pushed her any faster, she might break off at the knees. She's very old. She appears to be very frail. She's very slow.
Eldrick is going to treat this woman as if she was his own grandma. He is going to be as polite and respectful and tolerant of whatever nonsense happens here. If she takes 8 hours to walk to that seat, he is going to be there, and he is not going to look frustrated. He's going to put all that just burning so that he can get through this meeting, because he I don't know, something about this lady like demands respect from him, and he is going to give it.
As they're kind of haltingly doddering towards the large table across the great hall, you notice that she has turned her head back to where she is watching you as you walk. She's putting one foot in front of the other. She's allowing herself to be led, but she has no idea where you're taking her because she's watching you. Her eyes are very, despite the fact that she looks a little roomy, she looks a little like her eyes are a little watery, maybe a few cataracts, the signs of advanced age, but those eyes are sharp. And she's watching you very, very closely. She says, "You are younger than I expected."
Eldrick will grin at her.
Younger than the last time we spoke.
We?
At about this time, she reaches out a hand and puts it on the back of the chair that you were taking her to. She says, I take it from here. Please.
Certainly.
Excellency. To business. She very, very slowly lowers herself into the chair, her bones creaking, parchment-thin skin drawn across what looks like an elven skeleton. Now, to business, young man. You will understand why I have come. You are to enter your name into the rolls of the realm's nobility and choose your arms. Choose and register your sigil.
Certainly.
Have you given thought to the device, to the blazon that you will adopt as Baron?
Out of character, I did send that to you forever ago, right? Or no?
You did.
Okay, excellent. Then Eldrick will smile. I have. I've given it much thought.
And does it suit you? Does it fit?
I think it does.
This blazon, this sigil, will follow you the rest of your days. Will be inherited by your son. Are you certain?
I am.
Splendid. We shall go about the recording of your blazon. Over this course of the next several moments, she reaches into a pack and pulls out what appears to be a large, heavy tome. And she starts flipping through pages to try to find one that is blank. It's free.
While she's doing that, I'm going to kind of peek and just kind of take note if there's any interesting names that I recognize.
Okay. Perception? Investigation check. We'll do an investigation.
Also, good at that. Because I was, at one time, the crime-fighting paladin. That is a 19 on the die, 27 total.
You will recognize, well, as it takes her a very long time to find the place that she wants, and she flips through a number of pages, you have an ample opportunity to see, essentially,
quick question.
Uh-huh.
I am envisioning her as like a notary with her own little notebook of the things that she has done.
Yep.
Is this like an ancient tome, or at least maybe not as old as she is, certainly, but like, is this like her 18th tome or something? Like, when she's flipping through the names, am I seeing like historical figures in here?
Absolutely, yes. That's with a 27. That's what you get. And you will note that it's not just the lineages of Bloodstone or Damara even, but of Impilter
Sure.
and of lands all around this region. Dozens, hundreds, perhaps even thousands of families, because this is a very thick and, yes, a very ancient tome.
Oh my.
And
You've seen some things, grandmother.
I have, yes. Many things have come and gone before these eyes. Did you know I was here when the first oaks arrived?
I did not. Which oaks was that?
Yeah, I don't know that I have the name.
That's fine. She'll give me some name of my great grandfather or some such.
I believe it was Niall Oaks, the first of your line in the Bloodstone lands.
How long ago was that? I would certainly know my own family history.
Yes, the Oaks were not founding members of. Well, they weren't. They weren't in the original group of the founders of Damara, with the Bloodfeathers clan. But they were certainly there when when Heliogabalus was the first foundations were laid for Heliogabalus, 600 plus years ago.
Gotcha.
She pauses in the tome and starts flipping back the other direction, and lands on a page that very clearly states Niall Oaks. Niall. You would know this already. The patriarch of the Oaks clan, probably a great. I don't know how many greats. I have to go and look at my notes to determine that. But generations.
600 years. That's a lot.
A lot of generations ago. Yeah.
I mean, it's at least 12.
Yes. Many generations.
Eldrick will look at it. First off, it probably is the most impressive thing he's literally ever seen. Just like the history, like knowing where that page was in time. He's gonna look at it just to see what is there. Like, what kind of things did she record? Is it like Niall? He was a boring mother trucker.
No, it would have been things like a physical description, not a portrait, but a physical description. No recorded parentage, as he would not have provided that at the time, or that perhaps it just wasn't recorded at the time. But effectively, when he became a lord, and he was one of the founding lords of Heliogabalus, he would have had his blazon created and added to the roll the same way that you're doing. So you're doing something right now that your great 12 greats back grandfather did, possibly with this woman 600 years ago.
Are we farther back in the book than halfway?
Yes. You would imagine you're probably a quarter of the way through the book at the moment that Niall shows up. So there's more, but not much.
Eldrick just kind of takes a deep breath. Oh, the history that this book has seen. Oh, the history that you have seen.
Indeed. These eyes have witnessed much in these lands, and the lands to the west, from whence your family came.
Indeed. Do you know from whence my family came?
I spoke to your grandsire, Niall. He comes from Impilter, but was not born there. Westgate, I believe. She starts making her way down the page, and yes, he immigrated from Westgate in the mid 600s DR. Spent some time in Impilter, and then in the late 600s DR. Spent some time in Impilter, and then traveled north just in the early 700s DR when Heliogabalus was established, and purchased himself a lordship.
And Westgate is where? My goodness.
Way to the west. It's not even on our map. So if I go to our map of the campaign area, it would be off the map to the left, far to the west. Not quite as far as the Sword Coast, and it is on the southwest shores of the Sea of Fallen Stars. But it would not appear on the campaign map that we have. I just realized that I'm looking at it, but I didn't show it to you guys, so I just made a mistake. There we go. So this is the campaign map area with the Bloodstone Kingdom up here in the top, in the northeast corner. The Great Sea of Fallen Stars down here.
And the place that we're supposed to go is kind of over this way. Yeah.
Thar is exactly this area. That's correct. Symbia is this area that I'm pinging right now. Selgaunt specifically, right
where
here.
Our friend Partic is from.
Where Partic is from.
Where I'm apparently a convicted murderer.
And an escaped fugitive. From
now,
justice.
There's a city that I can't remember the name of. Tanis. Is that here-ish?
Tarsus.
Yes. Is that here-ish?
Tarsus is in fact there, yes.
Where the two gods did battle back in the day?
Correct. During the time of troubles, Bane and Torm did physical battle over the city of Tarsus.
Gotcha. I've had dreams that that's there.
And then Westgate would be to the south of Symbia, along the southwestern shores of the Sea of Fallen Stars, which is this big area here.
Gotcha. So south of. Gotcha.
Yep.
Okay. All right. That's fun.
You would also know with a history check. Give me a quick history check just to make sure that you remember.
History checks. I'm terrible at those. Hold on a second here.
Let's
that
find
would be.
out.
No, I'm not. I'm not terrible at those at all. Too many windows. Too many windows, ponies.
It's always the case.
Survey says 14 on the die, 22 total.
22. Oh yeah. So you remember this particular part of history you have always been interested in. Something about the mention of Bloodstone plus Impilter plus Westgate. Westgate was one of the origins of the Triad Crusade. Many knights and paladins of the Order of the Triad departed from Westgate in the mid to late 600s DR to travel to the demon-haunted shores of Impilter to fight to liberate the Forgotten Kingdom from the clutches of the demon king or the demon lord Agrosh the Scaled. There was a long crusade. Paladins of the Triad, which includes Ilmater and Torm and Tyr, fought to liberate the kingdom of Impilter and establish the new kingdom of Impilter on the ruins of the old.
Do I have any reason to suspect that Niall was part of that crusade?
It is not listed as he was part of that crusade or that he had ever held a knighthood. but
but he
the
was
idea
there
that he
at the relevant time.
the idea that he came over from Westgate around that time suggests that either he was either a member of the Triad Crusade and it just isn't recorded here, or that he traveled, he came over as part of that exodus. Maybe
Part
not
of the resettlement process, I guess.
Perhaps possible, yeah.
Maybe. Gotcha. All right. Well, Eldrick is fascinated by this book for this one, and he is just going to talk her ear off about it.
Yeah. Well, unless you have any other specific questions, what follows is effectively she will talk with you for as long as you will like to talk about history, because that's her thing.
Eldrick will spend quite a bit. He's certainly going to delve into like where she's from, and it's you're talking to an ancient person, and it's like you literally lived through all of the history that I conceivably know, kind of. So
yeah,
he will spend a lot of time chatting with her.
A front row seat to more history than we probably have in the real world. Reliable history, anyway.
He is a little curious about that slip of tongue that she might have had at the beginning. He might try to work in there what she meant by when last time we spoke, thinking that maybe she's speaking about a previous Baron of Morov or what. But he's definitely going to work into try to figure out what did she mean by that, if any.
Give me an insight check.
Oh no. Insight checks are my bane. Never mind, they're definitely not.
It's wisdom based, so it very well shouldn't be.
Yeah. Well, and Eldrick's stats are kind of ridiculous. That's a dirty 20.
Dirty 20. You can tell as you are kind of trying to direct the conversation back in that direction without seeming to do so. Like you described it as what you thought was a slip of the tongue by her, and you're trying to kind of direct her back in that direction, and she is actively resisting you in a very coy, very cheeky manner. She is ignoring your questions about that specific statement that she made, which tells you that she is aware that she made that statement and that she meant to make that statement, but that is all you're going to get from her.
Sure. Once Eldrick realizes that she's actively avoiding it, he's gonna drop the subject and move on to something. There's just too much to talk to this lady about that she's willing to.
So eventually, as conversations go on, she does record your blazon, the symbol that you chose to represent your specific branch of the Oaks family, your personal coat of arms. She takes a few pieces of information about you, specifically who your mother is, who your father is, recent accomplishments, anything that you are willing to have added to the roll, and you note that whenever she reaches the page, there's already a considerable amount that she has written about you.
Well, I'm definitely going to look that over to see if there's anything I wouldn't expect to be there.
Including that you were the youngest ever apprentice knight of the order, and only the second to fail to achieve full knighthood inside 2 years. But that is offset by the fact that you were 6 when you became an apprentice knight.
Is there anything about saving Sir what's-his-butt, whose name I can't remember right now, and I feel real bad about it?
Sir Percival. Yeah. And make me an investigation check, as you're just kind of trying to read over her shoulder as she's committing things to the roll.
Absolutely. You said investigation?
Correct.
All right. I got that in clubs. Ooh, that's a 10. I'm bad at reading things that are important.
Her script is very difficult to read. It has a very heavy elvish influence. It's not that she's not writing in the elvish script. She's not writing in
Right.
Esperar.
The strokes, though. The strokes are
The
kind
strokes. Her penmanship is very difficult to decipher, and so you're looking specifically for that name, Percival Higginbotham, and you don't see it, but you're not entirely certain that it's not there. You just can't read it. You're just
Sure.
having a lot of difficulty.
What she's writing about you? Can she be like, hey, can I read it on myself? What's in there? See if there's anything that needs to be added. I mean,
Eldrick will ask, noting that the part about the knighthood and all that jazz. He will say, "Do you have the part about Sir Percival?"
Your noble sacrifice, yes. Your valiant stand to defend the fallen knight. His name is not recorded here. It is unnecessary. Your deed is what matters.
Might I ask that you add it?
You may. His name?
He'll give her his name, Sir Percival, and I'm an idiot and I've already forgot the last name. Sorry.
She tilts her head as you say the name.
It's Higginbottom, right?
Higginbotham, yes. She tilts her head and looks confused. Percival Higginbotham.
Yes, ma'am.
And
he was very important to me.
He was a lord of Damara? He was.
He was, yes. He was a knight, yes.
Her eyes kind of narrow, and it's like she's trying to recall.
Eldrick is not hiding that he is very surprised that she doesn't know this name, and he's very curious. But he's not asking. He's looking at her, waiting for her to figure out whatever she's figuring out. But there's obviously a big question on his.
She starts flipping through pages, and she gets going at a pretty decent pace, despite her advanced age and the fact that she does everything slowly. Curious. No such lord has been recorded by these hands. Are you certain of the name?
Eldrick will look her square in the eyes. I am certain that that is the name that I remember, but you are making me very uncertain right now.
History, Baron Oaks, is all about certainty. It is what has come before.
I am certain that I served someone called Sir Percival Higginbottom.
Curious.
I am certain that I defended him from attackers on the riverside. And I am certain that I was wounded and brought back here.
All of these things are recorded, except for the name. I recall the story. I do not recall Sir Higginbotham's. It is as if he does not exist.
Have you ever before encountered names that did not exist in your vast tenure?
Many men adopt aliases, Excellency, to hide their deeds. Few of them engage my services. This tome contains those who wish to be remembered. Men who choose aliases prefer to be forgotten.
Can't imagine. Can't imagine anyone who would train other knights would wish to be.
Is there something else that you wish to ask me, Eldrick?
I am sure there absolutely is.
She starts
I
flipping through
suspect.
pages again. The arms, the coat of arms of dozens, hundreds of lords with whom she has met over centuries pass before your eyes.
If I suspect the answer to how I would look up Sir Higginbottom is to look at the city records. So that I will not bore you with. However, he definitely gives her like a square look, and there's obviously hope and question in his eyes when he says, "You have seen much of history. Are there any parts of it that you would suggest one such as myself, one who has just become a baron, who has much to learn? Is there any part that you would suggest I read that might help me along the way?"
She seems to think on that for a long, long time without saying anything. Just kind of her head kind of tilting one way and then the next in her glacial way. And we will cut back to Alanir.
For just a second, I'm 100% sure you're gonna be like, and she leaves, and I'm gonna be like, it's night. Anyway, sorry.
Cut back to Alanir so that he can ask his questions.
All right. So, I'm pretty sure that I can ask about plant specifically. So, I want to. The 3 questions I have is 1, does this tree have any influence from any other plane of existence? And does this tree have any connection with any person? And then, does this tree give off any, like, magical effects?
The answer to all 3 questions is yes. and you don't hear the word yes so much as you feel as you open yourself up to your goddess, Shantea, the Earth Mother. You seek her face. You articulate your questions in the way that you best know how through your prayer. And each time that you complete a question, there is a certain feeling that you get, like warm sunlight on your face, that suggests the answer is yes. Specifically on the third question, when you ask if there are any magical effects that emanate from this tree, or if this tree has any magical effects associated with it, you feel the same kind of response: warmth, sunlight on your face, a gentle breeze, sort of rustling your hair, and then you feel a gentle prodding at your shoulder.
I'll definitely look kind of like over my shoulder.
And you turn around and you see a unicorn with large, folded, feathered wings settling down behind you and nuzzling at your shoulder with its muzzle. And I think that is where we will end tonight's session. Thank you to everybody who came out to enjoy this session with us this evening. I'm so very happy that we're back. We will be back next week, the 10th of September, for another episode of Bloodstone, episode 31. We'll continue to pay off these little scenarios that our intrepid group of adventurers are finding themselves in. Maybe some more answers, definitely some more questions. We will see where everything takes us. Don't forget, this coming Thursday, for a little bit of channel business, this coming Thursday we will have a Rampocalypse. This coming Friday and Saturday there will be no stream, so no Friday Night Fights this week, and no Summoner Saturday this week. I will be otherwise indisposed on both evenings, so I will not be able to stream. But coming up this Monday, the 9th, we will have another episode of Starfleet Battles Academy. Bennett and Olives will be taking on the Andromedans. So if you're interested in Starfleet battles, it'll be a good time for everybody.
Yeah, it will.
If you're interested in joining us for either of these streams, either for League of Legends on Thursday, and usually Friday and Saturday, or for Starfleet battles every other Monday, check our calendar for the schedule. It's on my Twitch page. It's 2 Mondays a month, or every other Monday, we do Starfleet Battles Academy. We'll be back next Tuesday, the 10th, for more Bloodstone. Then, of course, Thursday, Friday, Saturday are our League streams. Aram Apocalypse Thursdays, Friday Night Fights, and Summoners Saturdays. I want to say a great big thank you to all of my players. You guys are fantastic. So very happy we're back to doing this. And
Oh, hell yeah.
And thanks to everybody who's out there who has enjoyed this along with us. Can't wait to see you next time. Check our YouTube channel, which is right here, for all 30 VODs of our Bloodstone stream, starting as far back as January of 2023. Wow. Yeah, January 2023 is when we started streaming. It's just over a year now of content that we've streamed of this campaign, but this campaign has lasted far longer. There's we're in year 15, beginning year 16 of this campaign of us playing together. Most of us, anyway. And there's so much more to come. We are very happy that you came to spend your Tuesday night with us. We hope to see you in a future stream. For the cast, for myself, for the rest of the channel, good night, and GG.
Adios.